Welcome, Cancer, to My Body and Heart Tarot Therapy. I'm here to do the reading for the month of September. We already entered September today, but yeah, it's a little bit late. Well, anyhow, welcome, and I hope you're well. This will be a general reading for Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising signs. As you know already, if it resonates, and if it doesn't, then it's just not your reading. Do not try to fit it in. Use your own intuition and inner wisdom to know which messages apply to you and let go of the rest. Alright, my darlings, now let's see what do we have for Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising signs for the month of September 2019. Okay, so I'm going to pull up 4 cards. The first one is your current energy, which is the Empress. Beautiful. Your challenge at this time, which is the Three of Stones. In this deck, it's called Work. This deck is the Heindel Tarot deck. It's very beautiful. I'm still new to it, so bear with me. I'm reading it more intuitively at this point. Seven of Cups as your advice, and it's called Illusions of Success. Interesting. And then your likely outcome, the direction that you're going, is the Nine of Swords, which in this deck is called Cruelty, weirdly enough. It's the same as in Crowley's deck. Actually, he comes from the Crowley school of thought. And bottom of the deck is the Five of Swords, Defeat. This is the theme of your reading. Okay. And I'm going to clarify these cards with the Universal Weight Tarot. Why is the Empress here as your current energy? Just realized there's not that much space here, right? Okay. Don't freak out about these cards. We're gonna walk through it. Okay, why is the Empress here as your current energy? Let's clarify these cards, please. Let's clarify these cards. So we have the Wheel of Fortune with the Empress as your current energy. We have the Five of Cups with the Three of Stones as your challenge. We have the Eight of Pentacles with the Seven of Cups as your advice. And we have the Three of Swords with the Nine of Swords as your future energy. And bottom of the deck, we have the Eight of Cups with the Five of Swords, Defeat. Okay, my darling, this doesn't seem an easy time for you. Let's see how can we use this energy. How can you use this energy, Cancer, to, for your own benefit? This is the available energy for those of you that resonate with this, but there is free will, and there are ways to be victim of the energy, and there are ways to use the energy for yourself, for your path, for your own growth. So the Five of Swords talks about defeat, talks about or a victory hard won. Actually, that's also in the traditional deck, but in this case, let's talk about defeat, right? And it comes with the Eight of Cups, which talks about moving on from an emotional situation that doesn't make you feel like it's worth it, like it's good for you anymore. Eight of Cups is walking away, right? And I think that what you're walking away, remember, this is a swords energy, so this has to do with your mind. So maybe you feel in a way defeated. You feel like you think about the situation that you are in as if you've been somehow defeated. But this is swords energy. This is your mind. I told you that already. Sorry for repeating myself. And I think that emotionally speaking, you become like stable enough to move on from the situation, because it is your mind that creates this. You can think of the situation that you're in so many different ways. What we make of our past is what we like, the way we relate to it is, it can be very different. We can relate to things that happen to us in so many different ways. It happened to me, or it happened for me. Sometimes, like, having this defeat mindset um, makes us look at the dark side of the situation, in the sense of, um, I lost something, I was defeated, this is shameful, this is painful, this is it. And that creates a lot of horrible feelings, like shame, as I just said, and guilt, and loss. But we can also look at this, whatever conflict this was, and whatever you consider here to be defeat, in a very different way. It can be, okay, this is not the direction I was supposed to go into, or I have to learn something from the situation. And this means, like, with the Eight of Cups, it means that you're starting to move away from this type of thinking. And emotionally speaking, you're like mature enough to look for some other way of looking at the situations, and exploring what is the missing cup here. So you have eight cups lined up here, and this person moves away to look for that nine of cups, in order to see what wish fulfillment is. Nine of cups, like, what is it that makes you feel fulfilled? Obviously, staying in this defeat mindset is not going to make you feel fulfilled, but it's good because it seems that you are aware of that. Okay, so it's a beautiful journey. It's that journey of the your emotional body guiding you, and guiding your mind where to go, really. And as your current energy, you have the Empress and the Wheel of Fortune, two major arcana cards, by the way. And the Empress talks about being fully grounded, being connected with the earth, being within your feminine energy. Um, there's the eye here in the sky, which looks down at this. She looks like a Venus, really. Like, looks at this woman that has a snake on her arm. The snake symbolizes rebirth and transformation and knowledge and enlightenment. And she's like, so sitting in the water, but she's floating on this crescent moon. So she's connected to her intuition. She is aware of her um, emotions, like the moon talks about emotions and water as well, but also her intuition, and she is held by them. She's guided by them. She's not ignoring them. And the open door here, like you see, there's a door here that opens towards what looks like a sun, really, like a bright light there, and that symbolizes like culture. And see here, it looks like a church, so it's some type of like beliefs, religion. I think that she gets like some type of enlightenment. See, there's also a bird here flying towards her ear, which means like news, but it's like connecting to the universal consciousness through her intuition, through her knowledge, through her groundedness. And she gets to see and to get the messages from this universal consciousness, from this thing, the eye of the universe. And then she's able to give this information in the sense to the rest of the world through culture, like making use of the culture and the belief systems that are in place, or creating even new ones. And with the Wheel of Fortune, the Wheel of Fortune is the card of like transformation and change. Not transformation in the sense of death, but like real change. The thing is, like with the Wheel of Fortune, what we need to keep in mind is that everything is changing. It's like in the Buddhist one of the main Buddhist beliefs is that everything is impermanence. We need to connect to that. We need to actually ground into that knowledge, because that's the biggest illusion that we are stuck in, that things last forever, that whatever it is that I'm going through is going to be forever, whether it's happiness and joy, or whether it's just suffering. Actually, it's the other way around. Most of the time when we're in suffering, we have the feeling that this is really going to last forever, and we get stuck in that. And we are happy when we are really, really happy, we start getting terrified of, like, oh shit, this is not going to last forever. How can I do, what can I do to hold on to this, to hold it for longer, to stay in this place? And it is important to understand that in both cases, like, what comes up must come down, and the other way around. There are cycles, and everything changes. It's always going to go round and round and round and round. So it is a reminder to not get attached to whatever situation you find yourself in, or to whatever outcome you may wish for the situation. It is important to, yeah, look for what fulfills you, to look for that Nine of Cups, and go out of the mindset that you've been to. And what this is helping you, actually understanding that things are impermanent, that gives you a level of enlightenment that sets you free. Also sets you free from this defeat mindset, this conflict, this having to fight and win, and the shame that comes with defeat, and all that. You realize, like, especially by being grounded and by connected to this universal consciousness and understanding, like deep understanding of why things happen the way they happen. Okay, so it seems that your challenge is the Three of Stones and the Five of Cups. Work, it can be literally work, like right now you're struggling to keep a routine, to find um to focus for your task at hand, which can be with your career, or like your actual workplace, or it can be with simply making the reality, the very, like, physical reality work for you right now. You may feel maybe, but like, these challenges are like our spiritual tasks right now. This is your task. It is not something that it means that, okay, if it's challenging for you right now, it's going to be like that forever. Keep that in mind. This is something that you're working with. This is something that you're working on. And the next road will be your advice of how to work with this. So maybe, yeah, you find a little bit of a difficulty to have to keep this harmony and balance within your physical reality, and how to allow things to work, how to have your routines to work for you. And it's challenging to see there are three cups here on spilled down, and there are two still standing behind him. He's not even looking at them, but he's aware of them. He has them here. The Five of Cups talks about also, like, emotional growth. It is moving on from the Four of Cups and growing a little bit. The Four of Cups talks about, like, staying in reflection, maybe apathy, not seeing what the universe is showing us in terms of gifts, and the present moment, being maybe a little bit stuck in reflection. And the Five of Cups is getting out of there. How do we get out of there? If we look at what is it that we're missing, we're mourning for it. Whatever we had, we say our goodbyes and we let it go. And then we can move our attention to this two cups that are still left, and see what we can do with that. So these two together talk to me about, like, how to work. It's maybe challenging for you to have your reality working or showing up in your reality, in your physical reality, which means routine, work, family. I don't know how you really how you show up into the world. Are you functional? Can you function right now? Or do you feel completely stuck in this process of mourning and loss? Maybe you lost something. Maybe somebody in your life who was important to you is not there any longer for one reason or another, and you're struggling with that, and you're struggling to keep yourself functioning. But the Five of Cups also talks about, it's going to go to the Six of Cups, right? Which means making peace with that part of our past and going back into kindness and forgiveness and innocence. You're getting there. And your advice is to look into the illusions of success. You see, you have three cups here going upwards, and then you have one going backwards. And I mean, these are six. I feel like, the sevens have to do a lot with taking stock of what is it that you're going through. Taking in this case it's emotional, so taking stock of your emotions and how those affect you. It's very interesting because you have the Five of Cups here, and then you jump. Your advice is to jump straight into the seven, and I think that you're going to find your six at the middle. And then you have the Eight of Cups here as part of your theme, right? And your advice is really to look at what is it that you really feel. What do your feelings really tell you? How to understand your feelings as a compass, as a guide. Okay, I'm going towards this, or this situation is not good for me. I can feel it in my body. And the emotions can be felt in the body. The seven talks about physical reality, but this is like the emotions in your physical world, right? So you can feel your emotions in the body, and you can feel like what is an illusion and what is real, from understanding to decode your emotions. And here it's like the Eight of Pentacles, which is exactly what works. Like you figuring out your own craft here. You understand what works. It's like success in that sense in your physical reality. So look like what works for you, and look what's an illusion. Look at your physical reality, at your routines in the past, and present, and see like, okay, doing this gets this reaction. Oh, I have all these feelings and these emotions. Get into the body, not into the mind. And we're talking about that. Get into the body, get into your physical world, and see how those emotions affect you, and understand what to do from there. Like say for example that you go on a date and you meet this person who's like staying on their phone a lot and ignoring you and whatever. How do you really feel in that situation? Okay, you may wish to get this person attention, and that he or she will like you, and but if you feel like uncomfortable, you feel it in your body, and before starting going into shame and feelings of rejection, realize, I don't want to be here right now. Actually, this person is just not really, it's bad behavior. I don't take that upon myself. I realize that I need to remove myself from the situation, so I don't take any conclusions about this. I just follow how it feels. Okay, this doesn't feel right. I'm removing myself from the situation. It doesn't have to hurt anyone. It doesn't have to jump into conclusion, oh, that person is horrible, or I am not good enough in a sense or another. This is just an example. You can apply this in so many different ways. But understanding your emotions, understanding your body, taking stock of like what works and what doesn't, and what is an illusion. Sometimes we have all these ideas that I'm supposed to feel like this, or I'm supposed to feel like this. This is what being successful means. Otherwise, it's all a defeat or a failure of some sort. So, not buying into these illusions anymore, understanding our conditioning is what really works. And we can do that when we are fully grounded, when we are fully into our bodies in connection to the earth, and we're making the connection between spirit and earth, really. This is like the eight has to do with, again, structure. There's a lot of like structure. This is working for you. So go check what works for you in terms of emotion, and what is that. Uh, mm, how do your emotions affect your physical reality? And it's like a circle. Okay, I feel like this, therefore I act like this. So what are my actions based on my emotions? And then understanding the emotions in the body will help you react less, and like, don't just react to your emotions, but rather respond. How do I respond to the situation? I feel like this. I'm not gonna, like, if I'm in that date and this person is like really cold and ignoring me, I could start reacting, and I start like doing, I don't know, crazy shit in order to attract his or her attention. Or I'm getting pissed off and I'm starting becoming sarcastic and passive aggressive, or who knows what else. Instead, I can like really ground and feel this into my body. Oh, I feel all that. I feel this feeling of uncomfortableness. So instead of like reacting to it, because I'm grounded enough, because I am like really focused on what really works for me and how this works, I learned to respond, and I'm like, okay, thank you for, it was lovely to meet you, whatever, and you can remove yourself from the situation without the drama, without the rest. This is just a way, again, to look at it. But this is the advice, right? Like, ground into your body, figure it out, your emotions into your body, and figuring out how to have them, learn the information from them, and respond accordingly. Don't just Do not just react. And this is gonna take you to this space. Like, the mind gets restless when we're getting this information, because the mind is not used to not being in control. These days, like this era that we're living, we're putting too much emphasis on the mind, and the mind becomes sort of the master. It's like telling us the what's my reality, right? And I believe that reality, which comes from the mind. But the mind is just an interpreter. It interprets my emotion, and it interprets my feelings, and interprets the sensations in my body, and makes up all these stories and ideas about my reality, and is running on the background all the goddamn time, telling me story after story after story. And we're telling ourselves stories of how we've been defeated, of what we've lost, of how things work or don't work. And those stories always end up being about my worth, in a sense. Oh, I'm doing this, that means that this is good or bad. Oh, I want this, that will increase or my status, or something like this. Oh, this just happened, this person is ignoring me in this date. Oh, what conclusions do I make about myself here and about the other person, which eventually has to do with myself, right? Like, okay, this person treats me like this, they must be bad, so I can feel good about myself. But at the end, there's always that fear and question: what if they're the one that actually like them, they're cool? What if there's something wrong with me, and so on and so on and so on. So do check what happens in your mind. Do check how cruel we can be with ourselves, based on what we feelings of loss, and feelings of rejection, and feelings of all that. Like, but again, this is like the threes. The number three has to do with the mind, and the swords have to do with your mind. This is not really about how you truly feel. This is what your mind concluded that you feel, and put a label on it and said, oh, okay, these feelings, this is bad, this is pain, this is loss, this is whatever. But many times we completely, that's an illusion. We don't understand our own emotions, we don't understand the informations. That's why we're working so hard to not feel. Oh, because feelings can be uncomfortable, and the mind is like, it doesn't know how to deal with this. But the point is that if you do go into your body, if you start feeling your emotions, and start, the mind slowly doesn't have so much power and weight over you, it will freak out. And this is why this Nine of Swords comes here. It's like the mind is being like in anxiety, and but it's great. It's a nine, so you have from 1 to 10 there's a cycle, right? And it goes into 10, which is the 10 of swords, which is like the end of a part of your ego, of one defense mechanism that's been running as a part of you, as your as a persona, as the death of that. And then it goes back all the way to the Ace of Swords, which is a new cycle, a new beginning, and which is insight and information, and some type of enlightenment for the mind, really. So it's good that you're going to this nine. It's good because you start seeing what is that your mind is really doing. You can, like, when it freaks out like this, it stands out within yourself, and you being grounded, and you learning what works for you, and you learning how to decode your emotions and not involve the mind so much. You are able to see this. You are able to stay more into your body and observe your mind. Observe how what are the stories that are um, showing up and that you're telling to yourself. What are the conclusions that you've made of yourself so far? And you can see how you're being cruel to yourself, really. How cruel we can be. That, like, it's incredible. Like, if we ever think that we are cruel to other people, we are 10 times crueler to ourselves. Like, the way we judge ourselves, my goodness. We can be like, okay, um, based on our ambitions, based on our illusions of success, based on thinking like what we are supposed to be doing instead of what we're doing, and what we're supposed to be feeling instead of what we're feeling. And we give ourselves so much shit for not being what we think we should be, for not winning whatever we find this defeat about. you know we can put ourselves down in horrible ways, and you start seeing this for yourself, and that helps you not give your mind so much credit and so much power. That helps you like see what are these swords that are you've been like, how have you been stabbing yourself, how have you been sabotaging yourself about the future, about the current situation. Where's the anxiety coming from, and in what form? What is your mind telling you? How is your mind holding you back? And the Three of Swords talks a lot about like aligning the mind with the heart. The heart here, like as I said, this is a very mind energy, really. The heart is just is not really being wounded here. See, there's no blood coming out of here. It's just that the mind and the heart are going together, and you are starting like making some connections and understand why on earth am I thinking this stuff about myself? Why what connect the thoughts, the thought patterns that come into place to protect the certain parts of your heart which felt some type of pain. And you're learning how to process that. It's fantastic. It's really, really good. That's really processing your pain without going into automatic reactions, without going into a particular thought pattern. Because you see it now. You see the trigger, you see your mind's typical rumble in your head, and then that helps you like not believe it anymore, and you understand that these conclusions that you've made of yourself aren't necessarily true. We make up the worst stories about ourselves most of the time. Okay, I'm gonna pull out oracle card from the Rumi oracle, which is like the wisdom of the heart. So let's see, what is the spirit message for you here? I know, Cancer, this doesn't look great when you look at it this way, but it's actually really good. It's really you learning how to work with your mind. and learning how to understand your emotions, which is major. It's so important for us to really feel empowered, to understand that we're not the victims of our emotions. Okay, so Sacred Union. This is the oracle card that came up for you, and it's a 19, which is a 10. 19 is like 1 and 9, it means 10. That's the end of a cycle again. It's a sacred union. I want to read a little bit about this, but like the first things that I see here, it's like a male figure and a female figure going together into this beautiful cosmic union. Let me check out. What is the Rumi is a poet. I'm sure you must know about him. If not, well, look him up. He's a Sufi poet, and his path is of the heart. Okay, so only the oneness of love and the lover is eternal. Surrender your heart into this union, for all else in this world is momentary. There we go. All else in this world is momentary. You're getting that enlightenment from the universal consciousness that we are love, and you are both the lover and the beloved. I'm gonna go check out the guidance. Every card, like it's a really long read, but okay, so this oracle comes with a particular piece of guidance for you. No matter what has been, what has succeeded, and what has appeared to fail, what has been loved and what has been lost. Thank you. There is only one truth that will prevail in your life, without failure, without exception, and that is love. It is all you are truly seeking, and is behind every life experience seeking you. Do not stand back from it. Do not put yourself aside, turn down your eyes, and pretend you cannot be seen by the world. Be bold, claim the love that is your divine birthright, and know that sacred union is yours, destined in the heavens and blessed by the great beloved. Great beloved being like universal consciousness. All right, so darling, this is fantastic. You are coming to that dear knowledge that we are love, and we are loved, and we have the power to love. That's where all things happen. All right, my lovelies. I hope that makes sense to you. Please like, share, and subscribe if it does, and I'll see you here soon. Thank you so much for being here, Cancer.